Good evening, everyone. I'm just checking that my setup is working. Could anyone confirm that you can hear me talk, hear my sound? Hi, everybody. Nice to see you again. You can hear me and you can see me. That's awesome. I hope there's no lagging and I hope that the picture is clear and that you can see me perfectly. Okay, the clock is sharp, so that means hi everyone and welcome to this live polymer clay workshop together with me and FIMO. My name is Lovisa and I am a polymer clay artist from Finland. I would love to know where you sit this evening. I'm keeping my eye on my chat the whole evening because I'm really excited to talk to you, and you can ask me questions, you can ask me anything. And please make sure you follow me on Instagram, where I post a lot of my work, and you should also follow FIMO Stadler at Instagram as well, because there are still 2 workshops this autumn, and I'm really hoping to see you there as well. That's not my workshops, but they're also sponsored by FIMO. You guys are from almost all over Europe. I'm super amazed and I'm thrilled. I'm getting a bit nervous, but that's okay. I hope you have your tools out and ready, because I will just switch my view and yeah, we'll start working together. So 1 minute, I'll just switch my camera. Okay, so could you confirm that you can see my working station perfectly? Let's just move the computer. Can you see my hands, and can you see it's crystal clear? It looks perfect to me as well. Okay, so let's start. I'll introduce all the tools you'll need for making the Houndstooth pattern. The design, if I can say it myself, it looks quite intricate. I mean, it's a Houndstooth pattern, but it's actually made completely out of clay. For this pair, I've used 3 colors. It's actually black and white. And then I've also mixed the scraps from, from this pattern. And then I got this lovely dark gray color. But you can use any accent color you like to create these beautiful earrings. I'll keep them here so you can see the final result. The most important thing is that you have a clean and, oops, mine is a bit dirty, but that's simply fixed by using a damp cloth. So I'm just cleaning off my surface, because as you might know, FIMO Soft is a bit sticky and you don't want to get dust and other particles stuck in your clay. So therefore, I'm just sweeping off my surface. I use a bathroom tile as my flat surface, but you can also use a flat sheet of baking paper or anything else that won't just stick to the clay. I would not recommend wooden surfaces because the clay will get stuck in all the creases. Of course, we need the main product of this workshop, FIMO Soft. As I already told you, I'll be using the white one and the black one. 0 for the white and 9 for black. If you like to, you can also use some other accent colors. I have some Sahara here. It's a beautiful accent color to the black and white. And I also have some scraps in the same gray color. And I'll show you what I'll be using this for in a minute. Tools you'll be needing is a rolling pin. If you don't have this one from FIMO, you can use a glass bottle or a glass rolling pin or another plastic rolling pin. A wooden rolling pin would not be recommended when working with polymer clay. Super important is to have a tissue blade, because we'll be working with a cane this evening. And when slicing a cane, we would need a tissue blade to get sharp cuts. So these come in packs of 3, and I also have attached the, I don't know what these are called, security. So the blade isn't super sharp for your fingers, but these are removable as well. I might remove them later on. Oven thermometer is also super handy for hardening our clay projects. And I will tell you a bit more about the hardening process later on. You'll also be needing some needles. I have a pack of needles here for making holes into the earring pieces, so you can attach them. And for cutting your shapes, you might be using some cookie cutters, but you can also use an X-Acto knife to just cut out some shapes you'll really like. These cookie cutters or clay cutters, they come in all different shapes and sizes, and you can buy them almost anywhere. They come in different colors and styles as well. If you want to attach some posts to your jewelry, you might need some super glue. And then we also use some earring hooks. I have hooks, and then I have these cute little studs with a tiny ring, so you can attach your earring, and I'll show you how I use those later. And I'll also be using some jump rings. And here I have, these are, I think they're 8mm. Anything between 7 to 10mm works just perfectly. And you can buy these ready-made from different shops as well. For attaching the jump rings, I would also recommend to use 2 small pliers. As long as they are flat-nosed, they're perfectly fine. Sanding paper is also super great to have. These are also from FIMO, and they come in different grits and grades. But yeah, I just use them slightly, so it's not necessary. You can use an X-Acto knife to get rid of. Yeah, I'll show you later on. You'll get the idea later on. Another handy tool is also a deck of playing cards, and I'll show you why in a minute. Okay, so let's start. I will tell you a bit about caning at first before we start working with clay. We're working with 2 different colors, black and white, and I have actually illustrated how we're going to build the cane. I can show you an enlarged, and this is made by FIMO, and this is, yeah, it's like the beginning of the caning. As you can see, I have kind of cut out a small piece of the finished houndstooth pattern, and I have enlarged it. And that's what we're going to work with tonight with caning. Caning is a form of reducing pattern so you get a smaller pattern. So first off, we'll divide our clay into 4 different sections like this. We'll have the black one and the white one, and we'll form them into squares, and then we'll mix 2 up like this. The next piece is to assemble these together so they form this piece. And when we start to reduce and cut and put them together, we will create a houndstooth pattern. If you have any questions, feel free to ask. If not, I think we should get started by creating the like crucial pieces we need to have to create this pattern and this cane. But if you want to, I can actually leave this paper out so you can take a peek if you need to. So it's always easiest to start with the best to start with the lightest color. So let's start with the white color. This is because black and this color are white. And tonight I'm using half a block. As you can see, FIMO is always divided into these super handy parts. And right now I just cut half of the block away. When starting off with caning, I would say it's best to use larger pieces of clay. And you'll see why in a minute. So I'll start off by actually making the clay a bit softer, because it could be a bit hard sitting in their package for some time. So this is called conditioning the clay. And I'm only working with my white clay at this moment. When it gets softer and easier to work with, that means you have conditioned the clay enough. I'm just using my rolling pin and I'm rolling it and I'm folding it and I'm rolling it again. If your clay, if it feels dry, when you fold it, it cracks like here, then it's a bit hard. So then you might have to add some warmth of your hands to the clay and work it with your clay by squeezing it this way and also by rolling it out. So when you fold your piece like this and there's no cracks, that means your clay is perfectly conditioned. And I feel like this is super well at the moment. So right now I'm starting to form a rectangle out of the white clay. And I'm actually using my surface to create this square shape. As you can see, I'm twisting my piece and pushing it against my surface. And this makes my edges a bit sharper. And as you can see, I have a rectangle pretty fast. And now I cut this one in half, like so. So here I have 2 equally large pieces of clay. I'm putting them aside because now we'll work with the black clay. And we'll do the exact same thing. And we'll use the exact same amount of clay. So half a block. And I'm starting to condition this piece as well. This feels super already, and it doesn't crack when I fold it, which means I can start shaping it into the same rectangle as I did with the white clay. This requires some strength in your fingers, so don't be worried if your hands get a bit sore or if you get tired in your fingers. We'll be working a lot with pushing and shaping this evening, so don't be worried if your fingers are sore tomorrow. So as soon as I have the same triangle, you can compare it to the white ones. Are they approximately the same size? I'm shaping it a bit better on the ends. And then I cut it in half as well. Okay, that's perfect. As you can see, my fingers are a bit black now from working this intensely with the black clay, but I'm just using a damp cloth again and getting rid of most of the discoloration. Okay, so now we want to start building our cane. So as I already told you from this illustration, we will need one black square, and that is this one. Let's put it there. We'll not move this anymore. It's perfect as it is. We'll need one completely white square. So let's grab one of those and put them here. And now we'll need the striped ones there and there. So I'll move them upwards so I can cut. Now I take actually I start with the white one, and I'll cut it diagonally from one corner to the other, straight down, like so. That means we have it in half. And now I'm continuing to cut the other half in half. Diagonally again. And I'm doing the same with the other half. So now I should have 4 pieces. I hope you can see it. And we'll do the exact same thing with our black cube. Diagonal ones in the middle. And then the halves once again. Like so. Now for the tricky part. I'm removing one of the corners from the white one, and I'm putting it there. And then I'll take the corner from the black one, and I attach that corner with the white. And if you can guess, I put that one right there. And then to get this striped cube, I'll take the I think you get it. It's super hard to explain. I'm just switching the pieces because we cut them in the exact same way, so the pieces should fit perfectly when we just move them. All right, so now we are just pushing this cube together. And the same with the other one. And here you can also check if the white one is a bit bigger. You can just adjust by pushing the black up a bit. But be careful so you don't distort the shape. It should be a cube or a square. So here we have the striped squares. Now let's add these to the black and white piece of the cane that we created. Now to create like this houndstooth pattern, we have to make sure that the black corners of these striped cubes, that they are pointing towards each other diagonally, like so. So I'm attaching the black corner upwards toward my black square, and the same thing with this corner against my black square. Now you should be able to lift up your initial houndstooth pattern. So this means that we have created this second step of my illustration, this one. Now let's create a bigger pattern, or actually smaller pattern, because we will reduce this cane. By reducing, we will get the pattern to be a bit smaller, of course. And the most important thing now is to try to keep your cane as square as possible. By pushing the square against a flat surface, it should stay the way it was when we first put these squares together. So I'm just lightly tapping. I'm turning the square, and I'm just pushing on the sides. Here you can see the pattern. I'm not pushing super much here. I'm just switching it to the side and push on the sides. It's a bit like making candy. I don't know if you have watched videos of that, but when they make some old-styled, old-fashioned candy, they do exactly the same way. They create a big pattern, and then by pushing it together, you create a smaller pattern. So just by continuing pushing, you should see that the pattern might get a bit distorted on the ends, but that's completely fine. It's more important what we have inside here. And I'll show you in a minute what I mean with that. If you have soft clay, as I have, it should be super simple if just by tapping with fingers to create a log, a cane. So I'm just pressing. As you can see, the white is getting a bit discolored, but no worries. And you'll get that in a minute as well. I'm continuing pushing the cane. And if you want to, you can also start using your rolling pin, but I'm not pushing at all. Because if you start to push super hard with your rolling pin and like rolling out the cane, the pattern might get distorted inside our cane. And that is because when you push hard, it's only the outer like shell of the cane that will get like pushed outwards, and this means your pattern might get ruined. So it's super important to be light with your rolling pin. I'm barely pushing at all. I'm just lightly sweeping it over my cane. I would really, really like to know if anyone is creating with me right now. So if you are, please write in the chat, because that would be so amazing to know that you are sitting at home somewhere in the world and creating with me at the same time. And I get the response almost immediately. That's amazing. I love to see that you create together with me. That's super, super funny. I really, really hope we sometime can meet and just create in real life as well. As you can see, I now started slowly by dragging, but I'm not dragging hard at all, because that would also distort my pattern. So I'm just lightly. You can also kind of do this motion to get the cane reduced. So I'm just lightly tapping and kind of dragging this cane so it will get smaller. And I think my cane is now around, let me grab my ruler. It's around 12 centimeters. Okay. That's pretty good, but I can see that my pattern might be a bit distorted over here in my ends. So when you get to around 12, 13, 14 centimeters with your cane, it's time to cut it. So as you can see, the ends are now, you can't see our pattern at all, but don't be afraid, because now we're gonna cut that away. So I cut once, and well, this isn't, you can tell that there might be a pattern, but I want to cut off another piece. So I'll do that. Oh, there we go. There we have the square that we started off with. So when you lift your cane, you should see that we have the black corner, the white corner, and the stripes. So I'll leave that end for now and cut off the other end. And there we got it immediately. So I have to cut off around 1 centimeter from the other end. Perfect. That means that I can continue working with this cane. And now I'll cut this cane in 4 equally sized pieces. So simply by, if you want to, you can measure, like pushing a small indent into your cane. So you can really see, are they equally sized? Almost. Let's switch them up a bit. But if you want them, you want 4 pieces out of 1 cane, cut it in the middle, and then the halves in middle again, like so, and like so. So now you should have 4 equally sized parts that looks like the houndstooth pattern. My cane has actually started tilting a bit, so it's a bit this way, but that's completely fine by me. I do not take any stress over that. That's just my design for this evening. As you might watch me doing, I'm actually turning and flipping my pieces, so I have my black corner in one direction. So all my black corners should point towards the right direction. I have them towards my left upper corner. So as you can see, this one is not in the same direction, so you might have to turn it over and try to see where do I get it. There it is. So once you got all your squares at the same pointing your black corners towards the same direction, I start to build another cane. So I'm just lining these pieces up. Like so, trying to get the corners matching and checking the other side. Is the pattern matching? Actually, it is quite good. And this means I'm starting to do the same process once more over again. Pressing the squares together. At the beginning, I'm just lightly tapping it, because if you start to push super hard, you might distort your pattern once again. So I'm twisting my cane and pushing, and there you can already see the beautiful, beautiful pattern start to come out of my cane. And when you feel like, okay, I reached my my tapping point, almost like tipping point, you can go over towards slowly, and not by pushing at all, to just sweep over your cane with your rolling pin. This might take some tries to get the perfect cane, but I think the most important part is just to be able to create and get the idea of caning, because you have endless possibilities once you get the hang of how caning works theoretically and practically. My outer sides are not white anymore. I can tell you, they're almost gray, but no worries. It will not show once we get the pattern completed. This is a process that takes some time, but the result is so incredible that it's actually worth all the time spent on making this houndstooth pattern. Ooh, the time is running. We still have 25 minutes and we should get a slab finished soon. And then I, of course, will show you how to finish off and create lovely, lovely earrings. Remember, if you start to pull your cane, to not do it too fast, because I already noticed that when I pulled this fast, my edges started to kind of come out this way from my cane, and that is not something you want to do, because that will you will end up cutting away more and more clay, because the pattern will get distorted much faster than if you actually take your time and be patient with reducing slowly. So I simply want to get my cane to around 12 centimeters again, because I will soon show you what my cane looks like when I cut it. Just give me a second to roll it. As you can see, this takes time for me as well, even though I've been making canes for several years. And another great tip, if you really like this technique and you want to explore what else you can make with caning, is to actually look for the FIMO Professional, because that clay is a bit harder, so it's ideal for making canes. I've done a lot of canes with FIMO Soft as well, so I'm not telling you that it's impossible, but it might be a bit easier to make canes with FIMO Professional. But as you can see, this works also perfectly fine. Okay, let's cut this cane. So starting with my ends to see where my pattern, oh, there it goes. This is all so exciting every time you get to cut a cane and you see the pattern just pops out of nowhere. It's so incredibly, it's cute. I love the Houndstooth pattern. So there you go. The pattern is visible, and let's cut the other side. And there it comes, beautiful, beautifully. And now we'll repeat the same step as before. First in the middle, so we get 4 equal squares again. Oh, this pattern is beautiful. And now I'll do the exact same thing. I want all my black corners to be pointing towards one direction. So here I can see they're not the same. So let me just, yes, there we go. So let's push those two together and line them up so they fit perfectly together. And I'm doing the same with the other, lining it up so it creates a perfect square once again. And yes, there we have it. I'm lining that one up as well. Checking it from both sides. Am I satisfied with the lineup? If not, you can try to rip it apart. It's not that simple. And try to avoid it since you can distort your square. But there we go. And if you guessed it right, time to make your cane longer. And we are reducing it once again. But as you already can see, we have a beautiful, beautiful houndstooth pattern peeking at us already. So let me just reduce this a bit more. This is also, if you like to make a bigger houndstooth pattern, of course, you can end right here and start to make your slab out of these this size. But I want to make mine a bit smaller so I can get some smaller details on my earrings. These ones, as you can see, they are super, super small. Just be careful so you don't start to push it too hard. And I'm peeking at the chat for a minute. Demi from Sweden, hi Demi, and thank you so much for watching my workshop. I really, really enjoy to teach you this certain type of technique. I get so much out of this, so hopefully you learn as well. And Therese says that this pattern is so beautiful and classic, it never goes out of style. That's true. Houndstooth is never, never out of style. Okay, I think I'm kind of satisfied. I'll try to cut my cane now to see if I like the size of my pattern, which I absolutely do. I think it's the perfect size for creating some earrings. I'll keep my blobs there so you can see how my reduction process has gone. So now I'll put my cane aside for a minute. Let's put it there so I won't destroy it. And now I'll take my scrap piece of clay, or actually this will be my slab. This was a bit less conditioned, I noticed. And here you can see the perfect non-conditioned clay. It cracks immediately when you fold it. So let me just quickly condition it. It also had some blobs of blue in it. I don't know where that that color came from, but anyhow, and this starts to get super, super conditioned, so that's good. When I fold it, it doesn't crack, so that's a perfect result. Now, when I want to create this slab, I'll grab my playing cards and I pick around yeah, let's say 4 and 4. So I have 2 piles with 4 cards in each pile. And these piles will now act as my guidelines for getting my clay the perfect thickness. So as you can see, I'm keeping my rolling pin on my playing cards. And this means when I roll my clay won't get thinner or thicker than my deck of cards. So this is a super simple trick to create an evenly thick slab of clay without a pasta machine, for example, which is also great for rolling out even pieces of clay. I would definitely recommend the clay machine. But I also think it's completely fine if you don't want to invest in one. Playing cards works just as well. As you saw, I used my tissue blade to get my slab up from my table. And this is just so I can check the thickness of it. And it feels pretty good. I'm quite happy with it. I'm rolling it once again. And now if you want to, you can cut this so it's a bit more square, because this will help when we start to apply our pattern onto our slab. Like so. Here we have a somewhat square slab. It's quite thin. I wanted it to be quite thin because we will apply some pattern onto it. So now we'll grab our cane and I will choose from which side. Maybe this one is the best. And I'm using my tissue blade. And now I want to slice as thinly as I'm able to. And it's like slicing a cake. I'm slicing thin pieces of this cane that I just made. And then I start to grab one piece, one square, and I apply it to my slab. And I take my next piece and I try to line it up as good as I can next to the other. This is the most rewarding part. I love to do this because now the pattern really comes forward. Try to get your slices as close to each other as possible. It's a bit sticky and might be a bit hard to get on the right place. But the good thing with clay is that you can push it together and you can try to reshape it if it doesn't fit. So I'm trying to slice a bit more so I can get a larger slab. Let's check so I can get the now I sliced it. I turned my cane and this means the pieces are a bit distorted, but it's a quick fix with fingers, pushing it a bit together, trying to get the same shape as before. So they fit perfectly together. I'd really like to know how it's going for you who creates at home as well. Have you come this far? Can you see the pattern? Or are you just throwing everything away, giving up? Okay, I think I'll have to slice one more piece. Let me do that real quick. There we go. And I push it down. Okay, I'm quite satisfied with my slab. This means I'll have to push out some shapes. But before that, I really like to get my slab the same thickness. So again, I'm picking around 8 or 7 cards. And now I'm really carefully going over my pattern with my rolling pin. If you push too hard, you might distort your pattern. So be super careful when doing this. Do not push at all. Just go over with your rolling pin, and you can see in what direction your small pieces of pattern starts to move, and you can try to, if you can see it, it's a bit bigger here, so I try to roll a bit more on this side so I can get the same size. And don't roll too much, because that will discolor your white clay. And before I start pushing out shapes, I like to grab my slab with my zigzag motion with my tissue blade. And now I'll use my cookie cutters. And I decided I want a round shape. So I'm pushing out 2 round shapes. And maybe I'll grab some squared shapes as well. This is almost like baking cookies. I love this step when you have to decide what shapes you want on your earrings. Like so. And the skeleton pull. So here is my slab. I put it aside. These pieces will now go into my oven. I simply take them up of my surface, and then I'll use some needles to simply just push the hole where I want my hole to be. So if I want my hole to be not too close to the edge, this is a part that will be hanging from my hook. So I will put my hole in the corner, and I'm pushing with my needle and just moving it round like so. And there you have a hole. It's not showing up super well now, then we have such an intricate pattern. But it's super simple to make some holes with the needle. So let me just move these pieces aside. You have to harden your clay in the oven. And the perfect temperature is, let me check the thermometer, 110 degrees Celsius, 230 Fahrenheit. Do not go over 130 degrees Celsius. And that is why it's super important to have this kind of thermometer. So you can check your oven that the temperature is perfect. 110 degrees, 30 minutes, that's the perfect settings to get the absolutely perfect clay pieces. I've already pre-hardened some pieces here, and it's actually possible to bend them like this. If you can bend your clay pieces, you know that you have hardened them in the correct way. If they break, they might have been a bit too long in the oven or at a too hot temperature. So please make sure that you harden them at the right temperature. The next step is to, if your edges are a bit rough, you can just sand them down with the sanding paper, like so. Or with the X-Acto knife, you can lightly scrape away if there are some rough edges around your pieces. I can show you that I created some contrasting colors for these earrings. So now, by using my pliers, I'll grab my jump rings and I open the jump ring up. And then I put my piece on there and my other piece on top. And I always twist my jump rings. I never open them like this. I never tear them apart. I'm gonna show you the twisting motion I do, like this. That means that your jump ring won't get distorted. So again, I'm just building myself an earring, like so. And now I would actually want to attach some posts to these. So I simply do that by grabbing a post. It looks like this. And on the back side, I just attach the post and add some super glue. And it's just as simple as that. If you want to attach some hooks, you might have to create another hole in your pieces. You might need to create 2 holes if you want to attach some more clay pieces to your jewelry. But I mean, look at this result. I've also made some smaller studs. They are just amazing. I love them. And I hope that all of you who created with me this evening got the same result. I will switch my camera view and like this, and then I'll have to make it the right way. Okay. I still have some time to answer your questions if there are any. I can see that you're following my design, but it looks not nice. I do have patience, and I really, really encourage you to not give up. Caning is a technique that requires patience and time and energy and a lot of strength from your hands. So please don't give up. Give it another try. Try to line up the designs a bit like with more patience. Give yourself more time, and I promise you that you will get to this result in the end. Monique said they're adorable. Yes, I really like them as well. Please feel free to ask me anything. There's still some time. And if not, I really, really want you to go follow FIMO Statler on Instagram, and also tag FIMO in all your creations. We love to see what you create at home. And I love to see what you create at home, so you can tag me in your photos as well. Send me photos, send FIMO photos. It would be so much fun to see what you created this evening. And after this evening, I mean, hopefully you've gotten some inspiration and now you learned caning, a technique that isn't that hard, but it might require some thinking, some planning. I really recommend to use the paper and draw up your design and try to think, how can I reduce this design? Uh, More courses will be in 2 weeks. That will be I think the next two courses are Christmas themed. So I'm also looking forward to see them. Check out Statler's webpage. You'll find more information there. Margot has a question. Avoid air bubbles while rolling your clay. I would say that you try to, when you fold, let me take a piece of clay. I'll show you real quick. When you fold your clay and roll it, you have to fold it like this. And there you can see, if you just fold it and push it, you'll leave a lot of air stuck there. So I recommend that you fold it and take your rolling pin and roll it this way so that you can get all of your air out of your clay. If that doesn't help, condition, and try to grab a needle, poke your holes, air bubbles with the needle. Don't give up. Conditioning is key when working with clay. I really recommend the clay machine. That makes the folding and rolling and conditioning so much easier and easier to get the air bubbles out. My time is up. I really hope you enjoyed this workshop, and please stay tuned, follow FIMO so you get more information about the next workshop that will be held in 2 weeks. Have a lovely evening, guys. I hope I'll get lots of photos from you. Tag me in all your photos and tag FIMO Statler. Yeah, hopefully we'll see you again one day. Have a lovely evening. Thank you so much. Bye.